My name is Andrew Fuller. I'm the Robotics and Automation Instructor here at the Career Center. I teach both adult ed and high school, and I've been doing it for about 5 or 6 years now, pretty much since Ramtech was built. I decided to take this job mostly because I came out of industry, and trying to hire qualified employees was a struggle for our company, as it was for a lot of companies. So I felt that if I could come over here and help people change not only their career paths, but also increase the skills in the local area, allow the companies in the area to utilize those employees, that we'd be all in a better position. Okay, so one of the best things about working here at the Career Center is definitely the staff that we have here. We all teach our own classes, we all kind of have our own specialties, but there's a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge here also. And that plays a huge part in the adult ed world. We all come from maybe a little bit of different of a background. We've all had different jobs, different job titles, but we all understand industry at a very high level and understand what our students are going through. One story that comes to mind is just recently in one of our advanced robotics classes, we had a student that was struggling. He was trying to change careers, and at first it was a little overwhelming for him, as it is with most people, just trying to learn and break into the robotics world. So we gathered up 3 or 4 of the adult ed instructors. We came up with a game plan for him, different ways to try the labs, to try out some of the exercises, trying to understand him better. And at the end of the day, once we did that, it started to click for him. He really understood from his own point of view how the robot was going to work, and went from kind of an iffy situation to a very good situation. One of the more positive stories I think I can come up with would be about 2 years ago. We had a student working in the restaurant industry. He'd been working in the restaurant industry for about 5 or 10 years. Had finally decided, maybe I had to go back to school, try something new. He heard about Ramtech. He came in here, he dedicated himself to it, he worked really hard. And the second he graduated, he got an internship at one of the local companies, and he's been employed there ever since. So it was really, it's kind of skyrocketed his career path and his career choices, which is something that we also do here in Ramtech, is we try not to lock into one specific company. We're not locked into one specific career path. Really, where our students want to go and who they want to work for, we can tailor our teachings to those companies and to maybe what they want to do. So one of the best parts about Ramtech is our relationships that we have with our local companies. Ramtech itself, about 6 or 7 years ago, was an idea that the school had, and they immediately partnered with our local companies. Companies like Scheffler, Worcester Brush, Artiflex, Quality Castings in Oroville. Lots of different companies, larger companies, knew that they needed skilled employees and that Ramtech was a possible solution. So we created an advisory committee where we could look at the aspects of Ramtech and how we could tailor what we do here to our local needs. The machines that they use, the types of robots that they use, the types of employee that they want to have come out of Ramtech. So at the end of the day, the best part about Ramtech to me is that when you leave here, the local companies know what they're getting. You're a known product to them, and it's a product that they design themselves. So we can have you go directly into apprenticeship programs for some of these companies. A lot of the classes you take here count towards apprenticeship programs for those companies. Companies that have hired students out of Ramtech have paid for their college, for their education. And really a lot of that, once you leave Ramtech, boils down to you as the student, right? You have to be passionate about what you're doing. You have to want to further your career in those types of ways, but the local companies are really hungry for good, skilled employees. What we teach here is not common knowledge, right? People don't have robots in their basement necessarily, so finding the right employee with the right skill set is really key to those local companies. And since the onset of Ramtech, we've maintained that relationship. We have advisory committees here that all the local companies are represented on the advisory committee, and we continue to make those improvements and make changes to the program as technology changes, as employee needs change from those companies. So we're very in tune with the local economy and have very good relationships with all the local companies. So the reason that I got into robotics and automation, to be honest with you, was I found myself at the age of 23, 24. I was working in a factory, and one day I was sitting there and I'm just sweat pouring off of my face, working my butt off, and I looked over and there was a robot running, and there was a guy standing there just drinking a cup of coffee watching the robot run. And I looked at it and I went, I want that job. Like, I want to be that person. And I knew it was more complicated than just being able to drink coffee while the robot works, but at the end of the day, I knew I needed to do something more with myself. I didn't want to be just a general laborer. I wanted to advance my career into that sort of area. So I got into robotics. I fell in love with it instantaneously. I've always been a technology kind of nerd, and I'm proud to be a nerd about it. But I love taking the science of life and applying it in some sort of way that we can make a good career and a good living out of it. So I've been doing it for about 20 years now. That same factory that I was working in gave me a shot. After 3 or 4 months of harassing the manager, he finally said, okay, we're going to let you try this. I went and took a couple classes very similar to what we're taking here at the Career Center. Learned that I was capable of doing it, and from that point on I spent about 5 or 6 years gaining experience and more knowledge and really focusing on my career to advance myself as high as I could go into the engineering world. So really love it. It's really fun and exciting. Every day is a little bit different. Some days you're in the office, some days you're on the shop floor, but at the end of the day we get to make robots dance around, so it's never really that bad of a day.